I'm Jon Medved. I'm here talking about Israeli entrepreneurship and what's been going on in terms of the absolute explosion of startup activity in what has now become known as the startup nation. We're one of the newest countries on earth. We're also one of the oldest countries on earth. King David established his kingdom in Jerusalem a little over 3,000 years ago. So we have a very ancient history, but we're also very, very new in terms of the reestablishment of Israel in our historic land. And I think people are curious as to how this country, such a small country, 7.5 million people, has ended up playing such a huge role in entrepreneurship and in startup activity worldwide. Back in the early 90s, the Israeli government set up a fund called Yozma, which means initiative, whose goal was very simple, which is to create a venture capital industry in Israel. And the government said, look, we've got entrepreneurial energies which we need to unlock. We need a venture capital industry. So they put bait out there with $8 million matching grants and invited venture capital groupings and entrepreneurs from around the world to come match it 2-to-1, bring $16 million. The government would offer you $8 million. And they got a ton of people to set up funds. I think they initially set up 10 of these funds, but they had another couple of dozen who wanted to set up funds and said, oh, you know what, we're going to go ahead and do this anyway without the government match. And so the most important thing the government did, though, is get out. It was structured literally from day one as the government will help you get started and will then give us our money back so we can get out. There are special elements in the Israeli culture which are not present elsewhere, such as the role of our army. Our country, compulsory national service, is really the bedrock of national identity. The Army takes the best and the brightest kids, puts them together in units, teaches them how to work as a team, how to be leaders. And so we have many kids who come out of the Army and then start college and are really ready for entrepreneurial activities. Our best and our brightest kids are competing to get into the best units in the Army the way that kids here are competing to get to Harvard or Stanford. Right now, the amount of entrepreneurial activity in Israel is still astounding. We almost have as many startups as the whole continent of Europe. There are more Israeli companies traded on NASDAQ than any other country outside of the U.S. This has become a national sport, building companies. And there are many entrepreneurs now who are coming back for seconds and thirds and fourths, and that's really great. The ideas start often in our country. They scale elsewhere. I think that harbors very, very well for the future, because what we really have is this very, very unique role in terms of being what I call an incubator of innovation.